Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is May 27th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing good. I'm feeling great. Kicking off my Memorial Day weekend. Woo woo! Just hanging out. I got some laundry done today. I've kind of made it a standing tradition now to just like stick to the donuts. So I got some donuts. I got a coconut chocolate frosted donut, a chocolate frosted donut. So like, I always feel like I'm saying it wrong, but it's like the chocolate icing on top, and it's just a normal donut in both cases. And then the other one I got was a chocolate iced donut with sprinkles. So I was just like, I had a taste for that since like Wednesday, and I was like, Isaiah, you know you're gonna do laundry, you know you're gonna get donuts. Just wait a couple of days, man. Just chill. So that's what we did. So yeah, feeling good, feeling effective. Feel like I got a good hangout day ahead of me. But I figured, hey, let's go ahead and talk about some news. Get into that. But before, I'm gonna take my little break, treat myself, give myself a little treat. All right, loosen the goose. All right. From Bloomberg, U.S. Supreme Court curbs Clean Water Act and blow to EPA power. The U.S. Supreme Court put new limits on the Clean Water Act, slashing the power of federal regulators to protect wetlands, and a long sought victory for a couple seeking to build a house near an Idaho lake. Now, when I initially heard the story, I'm like, how is this such a big deal, right? And I got it at least on the micro surface level of it. Like, well, this particular wild, wetland could be compromised by the construction, potential add-ons, yada yada yada. But why is this so major in the scheme of things? And as I listened and as I've kind of read, I'm understanding why this is like a very frustrating setback for just in the environment in general, at least in the future. But it was an unanimous decision. But essentially, there was a main opinion voiced by Alito, and then Kagan and Kavanaugh did a dissenting opinion. And now Kavanaugh, being a part of this dissenting opinion, even though it really wasn't a dissenting opinion, it was just like saying, like, hey, we agree, but we just don't agree as vehemently, and we think that this and this could be a problem in the future. Um, but to me, I was surprised that there was like this all around agreement for it, because it does seem like when you get into the guts of this, you're saying, oh well, because like this wetland isn't like they're not building it directly on the wetland, like it's far enough away, so to speak, then they're fine. But the contention was, well, there are like some tributaries that run through it, that would be affected, and that would affect the whole thing on the overall. Also, a thing I think about is just you just never know what kind of damage could happen, via all this construction stuff, via, you just don't know. Like, there's just a lot of factors, and I don't understand why this family needs to have this nice little property out on this wetland or near this wetland. But then you pan it out further, and you just remember that these Supreme Court rulings get used in the future, and how now, corporations or whatever can do whatever the fuck they want with pollutants. And we're like going back to a place like pre 2007, even, where like the EPA can't even regulate and say, no, you guys can't do this. Like, the actions you're taking is compromising this environment, and we need this environment to be sustainable. So it is a potential dark future ahead, just for the EPA in terms of, maybe not so much this wetland, but just wetlands, or environment. I don't know how to word this, but just environments are compromised potentially by this new ruling. But time will tell. Time will tell. I'm trying to think. We'll read a statement from Biden. Biden said in a statement Thursday, the ruling will take our country backwards. The decision defies the science that confirms the critical role of wetlands and safeguarding our nation's streams, rivers, and lakes from chemicals and pollutants that harm the health and well-being of children, families, and communities. Also goes into some history about the 1972 Clean Water Act gives the federal government control over waters of the United States, including rivers and lakes. Writing for 5 members of the court. Oh, they just talk about Alito and yada yada yada. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like the court is saying like, hey, we don't want to see regulators have too much power here, and we want to clamp down on that. But to me, I'm thinking like, yet again, why do we have these judges who are not scientists who may or may not care about global warming and the problems of the world, and not to mention just the added fact of just like people putting greed and profit, whatever, over the environment itself, and how that can really be compromising. Like, maybe leave that to regulators, people who have maybe a better handle or experience on this issue. But they said, fuck that. All right, that's all I really wanted to cover from that article. I'm going to move along from the Hill. Colorado River Basin states reach agreement on water cutbacks. I gotta say, for me, this is kind of like a bit of a snoozer article, kind of a situation, but I understand why it's important, so I did want to, do some coverage on it. But after a year of heated disputes over Colorado River water usage cutbacks, the 7 states that depend on it for its survival have agreed to a consensus-based plan submitted by the 3 lower basin states. The proposal, drafted by California, Arizona, and Nevada, would commit those 3 states to collective conservation of at least 3 million acre feet of water, or of system water, by the end of 2026, when the Colorado River's current operating guidelines are set to expire. Now, the Colorado River is kind of in a really shitty situation. Once again, I kind of referenced, global warming, climate change, previous article. Droughts, just lack of water is really making the Colorado shrink, and like the high water usage is adding to that problem. So it's almost like you're burning a candle at 2 ends here. And it's gotten to the point where it's like, okay, we need to come up with a plan for conservation to just limit this water usage, which is naturally very hard on your, each state's, individuals. Not mentioned in this article, but I know there's some Native American tribes that are also, involved in this conversation as well, because they're supposed to have their like set amount of water, and like that potentially is going to be affected drastically. But I know that the government has kind of been like inching closer and closer and closer to like intervening and saying, hey, if you states can't get involved here to figure out what you're going to do with this problem, we're going to fix it for you. And I think that motivation has kind of pushed all the states to at least come to this proposal. But I know initially they had it where it's like one was kind of set for like California to kind of take the brunt of it. And then California was like, whoa, 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 no. Like, it should be maybe more Arizona. That's what we think it should be. And now they've kind of settled for something that's a consensus, maybe on like both. Let's see. California worked hard with our basin state partners to achieve a consensus between all 7 states to protect the Colorado River system for the duration of the current guidelines. That is from J.B. Hamby, California's Colorado River Commissioner. Let's see. This is more I wanted to read here. But yeah, they really just wanted to avoid the government getting involved, because I think that would have been a lot more harsh, and then it's not something that you can probably negotiate. So unless you're like going to try to take it to a lawsuit. So I think this is probably the most amicable situation, and it should hold till 2026, and we'll see. I think too, if I'm not mistaken, that it's also going to be like there's going to be some assistance from the government in terms of like providing maybe water to kind of help out with it. But even with that, all of these states are going to be doing drastic cutbacks to conserve water, down to like, an individual like house level and shit like that. So, I mean, as a person living in the Midwest, Ohio, like, we don't really have this issue. So it does seem like kind of like a far away thing for me. But I just couldn't imagine, like, let's say you're living in, California, Arizona, and you're just like, oh shit, like, I have to, like, monitor the amount of showers I have and things of that nature. Yeah, that definitely is a lifestyle change. That's an adaptation. So, I feel like it is important news to cover, even though it's a lot of numbers about water and acres and blah 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 blah. You guys know I hate fucking numbers on this podcast. You throw too many numbers at me, and I'm like, I'm Hong Shu Mimi. I'm out of here. I'm leaving. Elvis has left the building. I'm gone. All right, let's go ahead and move along. From CNN. 11-year-old Mississippi boy who was shot by responding police officer after calling 911 is released from the hospital. An 11-year-old Mississippi boy who was shot by a police officer after he called 911 for help is recovering after being released from the hospital, according to his family. Let's see here. Adrian Murray I'm sorry, oh my god, Adarian. We're gonna go with Adarian. Adarian Murray was shot in the chest by an Indianola police department officer early Saturday morning, while the officer was responding to a domestic disturbance call at the child's home, according to his mother, Nicola Murray, and the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation. Murray had told CNN that the father of another of her children had arrived at her home at 4 a.m. irate. She had asked her son to then call the police. The police come, and let's see. Murray said the officer who arrived at the home had his gun drawn at the front door and asked those inside the home to come outside. Murray said her son was shot coming around the corner of the hallway into the living room. Once he came from around the corner, he got shot. I cannot grasp why. The same cop that told him to come out of the house, Darian did, and he got shot. He kept asking, why did he shoot me? What did I do wrong? And that's the thing too. The footage, there's body cam footage that hasn't been released yet. The cop has been named, and he's been currently placed on administrative leave. But I don't know. This shit is very frustrating to hear because this is an 11-year-old kid. Like what? Like, you need to have some reason. Like what? And then there's also the surreal moment too of after Darian has been shot in the chest. The mom is doing the best she can to provide first aid, and a cop comes to help and is helping with like compressions and shit like that. And I just couldn't imagine as a mother, as the victim, the person who shot you, who told you to come out, shot you. And mind you called because there's a domestic situation going on. You need their help. They shot you, and is now they're helping you because they shot you. Also, mind you, in the process of this, he had to go to the hospital with a collapsed lung, fractured ribs, and a lacerated liver because of the shooting. The mother was with him, obviously, the whole time, because that's what a dutiful mother is going to do in this situation. And the father of the other child, he was let out, and essentially they're like, well, she didn't come to like file her actual report or anything. And she's like, well, how could I? Like, I was at the hospital with my son that you guys shot. Like, I just can't imagine the family just going through this. I think his name's like Gary Casper or some shit, the cop who did it. Kind of don't care. Honestly, I'm not the naming shaming type. Like these cops just do the shit. Capers is his last name. Capers, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'm surprised they haven't released the body footage camera yet. Hopefully they do. I know the investigation is still ongoing, so we shall see what is uncovered from there. I obviously hope they do try him, because it's like there's just no reason for this. Like, having your gun drawn, okay, fine, fucking whatever. But the idea of saying, hey, come out, and then an 11-year-old comes out, like, well, who do you think you fucking are? Are you Omar? Is this The Wire? Do you think you're gonna get shot, bro? Like, and you just shoot him right in the chest. I just don't understand. I don't get it. And you need answers for this shit. Yeah, that obviously I'm gonna keep you guys posted on that. We got one more thing to cover. Then I'll let you go on this nice, wonderful Saturday. Ooh. Ooh. Alrighty. Last one is from AFP. Peru seizes Peru seizes cocaine bricks wrapped in Nazi insignia. Man, so I'm kind of like 2 for 2 over the past like 2 weeks this week. One, that this is cocaine news, and you guys know I love a good drug story. You can't help it. Sadly, two, Nazi fucking news. Like, what the fuck, man? You're putting two things that should not be put together. Like, unless we were talking like World War II times and you're like some fucking SS guy and you need, this is your aesthetic and you're thinking this is the way the world's gonna be. Thank God it didn't happen this way. But literally, there were bricks of cocaine seized, 58 kilograms of cocaine that was headed for Belgium, in packages. I don't know if that's sus or not. That's going to Belgium. Like, this is like maybe like a special order or fucking some shit, or if this is just weird branding. I don't fucking know, man. But 58 kilograms of cocaine headed for Belgium in packages bearing Nazi symbols and the name Hitler, which was like the relief in the cocaine. So like it's literally in the brick. You just see Hitler, and then it was like wrapped and it had the swastika on top. 50 packages of the shit. So I don't know, man. Like, look, you guys know how I feel about crime. If you're a listener, it is what it is, man. Drugs are drugs. But it's weird. It's hella fucking weird when you're like, oh yeah, let's go ahead and get a little, Nazi with it. Yeah, let's slap some fascist propaganda on there. Yeah. This is gonna really sell like fucking hotcakes. Like, why? It's cocaine. You literally don't have to put anything on it. Like, branding like this is just weird and very cringe. So obviously we don't support. Boo. Gross. Tomato fucking tomato. Yeah, blah. Like, honestly, this is the story. Also, apparently, Peru has, since like 2022, they seized 22 tons of cocaine. So I mean, it's out there, Jerry. Let's see. We read a little bit more, actually. The drugs are found in a Liberian flag boat in the small northern port town of Paita, close to the border with Ecuador. It had come from Guayaquil, the Ecuadorian port city known as a major jumping off point for the South American drugs heading to the United States and Europe. So yeah, cocaine, baby. But sadly, yeah, it's of the racist variety. Weird. I don't know. Very cringe, very obnoxious. Please hold the racism on my cocaine. Don't give me that. Save those bricks. No, throw them away. Actually, put those down the toilet. Radio to those drugs. All right, that's all I got for this episode. Patreon.com/Isaiah News if you would like to support the effort. You get access to bonus episodes. I do one every week on this daily news project that we're on now. But yeah, also you get a link to the Discord. I'm trying to always grow that, push that. I really would like that to be a space hub where people just talk about news, share memes, do stuff. But, it is what it is. If it doesn't pop off, that's okay. But it's there if you want, and it's free. Like, you don't have to pay the $5 for that. You just hit me up. I'll give you the link for that. Also, you get newsy status with the Patreon subscription. So once a month, I will say your name on the podcast if you want. I will also plug a project you're doing, things like that. You can kind of use me as like an advertising board. Also, feel free to send me news, information, talk with me. And if you want to do that and you're not a member, that's okay. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, comments, DMs, I guess you can do those. YouTube comments, you can get in there, comment on the episodes. Make sure if you're on the YouTube to hit the bell, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Yeah, but yeah, you can interact with me. Oh yeah, you got a Gmail. If you want to send me a fucking sleepless in Seattle style email, isaiahnews1@gmail.com. You can do that. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Donut. So yeah, that's all we got. I thank you so much for tuning in. I thank you so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.